Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here today in Birmingham, and let me first of all start off by congratulating you, Birmingham, for taking the initiative and doing the index at the local level. In the regional level, it's the only region that I'm aware of that has taken that step forwards. And secondly, I've been in the northwest and the northeast over the last 3 months doing similar sessions, and this has been by far the largest audience and engaged audience that I've seen, first of all in the breakfast this morning, and then just the participation in the audience today in terms of who's turned up. So again, it feels like Birmingham is really taking the initiative in understanding their digital maturity. By way of introduction, I work for Lloyds Banking Group. The Consumer Director title means that I look after online banking for all of our brands in the high streets, so Halifax, Bank of Scotland and Lloyds, Scottish Widows from an insurance perspective. But I also, importantly, for Lloyds and Bank of Scotland, I look after our small and medium enterprise and charity sector, so that's anything up to £1 million turnover. And it's that particular area of the business that I wanted to talk to you today about. I'd just like to get some more audience participation in the morning. So, first of all, put your hand up if you bank online from a personal perspective. Okay? Keep your hand up if you bank online using your mobile. Okay? And so more people in the room are doing it than not. How many of you bank online for your business account? And how many bank online for your business account using your mobile? Very few. And it's interesting in terms of just that straw poll. Two things which are interesting about that. First of all, I have 10.5 million customers who bank online with me in the high street brands. There are 38 million people banking online in the country. There are 16 million people banking online using their mobile in the country, and 5.3 million of them do it with Lloyds Banking Group. So we are a very digitally savvy country. In fact, if you look at the spend per capita, we are the most digitally savvy country on a global basis. And that may come as a surprise to some of you. But it is where my customers are, and it's where your customers will be. And therefore, when you look at small, medium enterprise organisations, around 5 million in the country, 2.5 million of them bank online. I have about 500,000 of those customers who bank online with me. But only 40,000 of them use mobile to bank. And that's partly because I only launched the mobile banking app last year. So part of it is demand and need, and part of it is providing people with the tools and the capability to do it. But it's also down to actually understanding what the benefits are. And what you'll find out in the marketplace is a lot of information around what consumers are doing. There isn't a huge amount of information about what small businesses are doing. And that's why I congratulated at the beginning in terms of what Birmingham have taken forward in the local index. But what Lloyds Banking Group did last year was we worked with Go On UK, which is the government-backed charity. It's chaired by Martha Lane Fox. And the vision is to ensure that UK citizens and small businesses fulfil their digital potential. And what we found working with the other partners that you can see up there, the likes of BBC, TalkTalk, is that there was a lot of insight into what consumers were doing, but there wasn't a huge amount of insight into what small business was doing. And we passionately believe at the bank that a prosperous bank is required to support a prosperous Britain, and vice versa. We need the British economy to be booming, particularly in the small medium space, for the bank to be successful as well. So it's a reciprocal relationship, invested interest. And therefore what we set out was to undertake a UK-level national index on digital maturity for small businesses. And how did we do that? Well, the Optima research, which was conducted in 2012, was an initial good step, but it wasn't repeatable. And that was the one thing that we wanted to make sure that we did going forwards, was that the index would be representative across the UK. It would give us a regional insight, but it would be a repeatable process. And therefore, what we did was we combined the power of the data that we have within the bank. So 500,000 small businesses banking with us online is 25% of the market. It's a representative sample. We backed that up with 2,000 surveys across the UK, across the various sectors, and we interviewed them to understand their maturity about how they did their businesses. And we can correlate that with the transactional activity that we see coming through their accounts. So it's the insight that we have within the bank, and then the research that we've done with those 2,000 SMEs that's given us the ability to give, on an annual basis now going forwards, an indication of the digital maturity for SMEs across the UK. So what are we using the index for? So first of all, it's being done in partnership with Go On. It's informing how to fulfil that vision. It's helping us understand the strategy we need to set up as part of the Go On board, how we move forwards to help and support small, medium enterprises in improving their digital capability. We're working very closely with government, so with GDS, the Government Digital Services, and also BIS, so to help inform their inclusion strategy. What we're seeing in financial services is financial inclusion has been a well-known and understood challenge for banking in this country. But actually the way you access your financial services now is becoming predominantly through digital. So if you're digitally excluded, you're finding yourself financially excluded. And again, these two things are converging together. And therefore it's not only helping us in terms of government to set policy around how we define digital inclusion, it's also informing now how we define financial inclusion, both for consumer and small businesses. And then, most importantly, it's helping the practitioners on a local level and you guys who run your small businesses to understand what the opportunity is, what type of skills do I need to take my business forwards, and what also are the downsides if I don't get involved, because an opportunity for you is also an opportunity for somebody else, and I'll come back to that point in later. So, what's the actual index look like and what does it tell us? So, I won't take you through the complex algorithms of that, the way we look at the data analysis, but essentially, the average is 100. And therefore, what you can see on the screen behind me is there's a broad range of maturity across the UK for small businesses. So if you score 100, then you're on par with your peer group across your region or the UK. And therefore, you see there is a big spectrum from those that are innovating who are scoring an index of 161, down to those which are completely disconnected, scoring a low 28. Now, on a regional level, Birmingham scored, or the West Midlands scored 103. So as a region, you're slightly ahead of the peer group across the UK, which is pleasing to see. And when I explain what some of the constraints would be, I think you're also through the first and second hurdles as well in terms of moving forwards. So across those 5 million small businesses, it's approximately a third in terms of where the population falls. And the important thing about this index is it's not a one-off, and it's not just a natural progression upwards. It is possible for you to go backwards, because the world around us is changing quick, and it's accelerating each year. So just because you were digitally mature today, i.e. you were taking advantage of the technology that was there for you and exploiting the opportunities for your own business, is not to say in 12 months' time there won't be new advanced technology for you to take advantage of and new opportunities for you to progress on. So it's not a one-off step, it's a continued investment that you need to think about, which is interesting when you look at the data that's come from the index, is the cost to invest. And the thing I would want you to understand is it's a cost to invest over a period of time. You can invest as a disconnected to get yourself into the medium group, but if you don't continue to invest, you could find yourself back in the disconnected group as things mature around you. So what does it tell us at a national level? So we looked predominantly at digital skills and the skills gap that we see in the sector. And 31% of SMEs across the UK don't have sufficient skills in their organisation to be able to take advantage of the opportunity. 3/4 are not investing to improve those digital skills. It's not to say they're not investing in digital, but not investing in the digital skills within your own organisation. And again, I come back to the sustainability. You could invest for an outside organisation to come and help you and give you a leg up, but are you going to be dependent on that going forwards on a continuous basis. So how do you invest in your own organisation to create the right skills? And that's a combination of the people you've already got and upskilling them, but also maybe recruiting and bringing in new skills from outside your organisation today. The research at Go On suggests there's up to 800,000 shortfall of skills in the UK by 2017. So again, digital skills is a very competitive landscape. Those that have got it are at a premium, and those that don't are missing out. 1 in 4 are not seeking any help with the skills, and 25% wouldn't know where to go. And I think this is crucial. You need to know where to find the support to get the support, and you need to find the support to really understand what it is you may need to be doing differently. Not everybody will necessarily know what the opportunities are for your own business, but there will be people out there who are doing it and who can help you. But if you don't know where to find them, if you don't know where to find the resource and the support, whether it be online or whether it be in the local community, then you're stuck. And this is crucial for me in terms of the difference between the national view that you can take, which is we can help raise awareness around some of the challenges and opportunities in digital. But in terms of the engagement and the support, it has to be at a local level. It has to come from people in this room, and it has to come from the local government and the local support in the Birmingham. So what were the key barriers? Well, what was surprising for me was 35% thought they were doing everything they could online. As I said, I have 10.5 million customers, 500,000 business banking customers who bank with me every day. There's not a single day that goes by that I don't learn something new about my business that I didn't know the day before. So, again, I think the opportunity is ever increasing and ever growing, and I worry about those organisations who think they're doing everything they can. 29% said being online was not relevant to them. And I guess this is where you've got to be innovative. You saw on that scale the innovators. These are the guys who are thinking outside of the box. These are the ones that are looking laterally across their business and their value chain to look at opportunities that could be there for them. What worried me when you break this down is it's the older organisations, so those organisations which are typically 10 years plus are the ones that score highest in terms of they don't think there's an opportunity for them. The younger organisations, those that have typically been established 1 to 2 years, are the ones that are really taking advantage of this. So again, complacency from two perspectives is really important. Just because you have a well-established business today and you're doing well and you don't think you need digital, I think it would be worrying for me. And also, if you're already mature in your digital capability and you think you've cracked it, I come back to that natural progression of technology around you. You've got to keep thinking and keep moving forwards. One thing that's slightly different to the local index and what we've seen here is just I guess the insight around cost and connectivity. And I guess only having seen the data this morning, there's a couple of things I'd just call out and the differences between the indexes, which may account for some of the differences. We have charities and voluntary sectors in our information, where I believe the Birmingham is just SME. Charities and voluntary sector are by far the least digital mature segment in the UK, so that does drag our numbers down. It also depends on the type of how you ask the question. This is not to say connectivity is not an issue at a national level, it's just it wasn't seen as the barrier to entry, it was the other things above. And I also think that until you really get into it and you break the attitudinal piece down and you understand what the benefits are and you understand what the opportunity is, I don't think you really understand what the costs are. Or indeed if the connectivity that you've got today is fit and appropriate for you for going forwards. So if you're just using your own local broadband at home for personal use as a sole trader, if you want to scale your organisation, that may no longer be fit for purpose. And as you scale, then the costs increase in terms of connectivity. And what was it said in a local level? So we segment at a regional level from the West Midlands perspective. Your basic online skills gap is on a par with the UK average, and therefore, again, we did this index. We took the survey in September 2013. and therefore this data is nearly 18 months old. The data on the new revised index is going to be published at the end of this month. So again, progression I would hope to see in the numbers come through. 31% still believing that they're doing everything that they can. Time, again, it's something that Raj touched upon. Time is the single biggest benefit that SMEs come back to us to say the benefits of digital alongside regional reach. So it gives me opportunity to move out and trade in different spaces and reach different parts of the country that I couldn't do before. Digital pays no respect to geographical boundaries. If you take advantage of the digital opportunity, there's no reason why you here in Birmingham can't trade in the North East, the North West, Scotland, Northern Ireland, or indeed in Europe. But there's nothing stopping those regions trading in Birmingham as well. And this is where I say the opportunity exists for everybody, and therefore, if you don't take it, somebody else may. And one of the greatest challenges I think you'll face is time. You've got to invest time to get time back. And what we saw in the survey was that businesses that invest in digital were saving roughly 10% of their time per week, which is half a day. Now 60% of our SMEs are sole traders. So that 10%, that half a day, gives you the opportunity to do something different in your business, or if you like most, your time poor, it's half a day you can spend with your family and friends and doing the things that you'd like to be doing. And it's the greatest gift that digital can give. We talk about in the bank that digital can't buy money, but it can buy you time. But unfortunately, you've got to invest the time to get it back. Just a couple of things that we've been doing in the bank to try and help at a national or local level. I touched upon the North East. We worked with Tinder Foundation, which is a local charity which does predominantly focus on consumers, but we wanted to work with small businesses. We picked 40 of them, and we worked locally with them to understand how we would help to improve their digital maturity. Two key findings. Each business is different, so don't treat them all the same. Second thing is, peer-to-peer support is the most effective and best way to help me. Working with local businesses who have done something similar or in a similar position helps me move forwards. Not necessarily in the same sector, but in the same region will help me move myself forwards. So don't treat me as a one-off, don't treat me as the same as everybody else, and local support, local peer-to-peer was the key thing that came out of that. And we've seen those those organisations really prosper on the back of that. We have 3,000 digital champions across the 2,200 branches that we have in the UK in Lloyds Banking Group. That will be 7,000 by the end of the year. It will be 20,000 by the end of 2017. So we really want to use our community foothold in the branches to help consumers and small businesses going forwards. We've committed to deliver the business index on an ongoing basis, and I've talked about that already. Online toolkits, what also is coming out of the research is insight into what businesses need to be able to help them get on. So, we've been working with BBC and Google to help develop tools, online tools, to help small businesses move forward. Simple things of, I have a website, or I know I need a website, but I have no idea how to develop one. So we've put tools online to help these businesses try and move forward and self-support themselves. And then innovation. We were helping go on particularly in terms of the digitalskills.com site. Finding the information is one of the key issues, is to find information about how to move forwards. We've been using our innovation labs to bring small businesses into the labs where we can research the effectiveness of the websites and the content. It's not just about looking at the screens. We're able to monitor body reactions and eye movements and eye patterns to be able to understand how effective the websites are. I only share you that to say that's what we've been doing to help go on with our websites, but it's also something to think about in terms of the behavioural economics and the human mechanics of digital is very much prevalent. And if you think digital is about technology, sadly you're mistaken. Digital is all about people. If your customers don't understand how to use your services or where to find your services and not engaged in your services, what you built is irrelevant. And if you don't have the best people in your organisation to understand customers, understand their needs, understand how their behaviours are changing, you're going to build the wrong thing. So it's about people. It's about people in your organisation. It's about understanding your customers and being able to engage with them in a different way. And just a way of wrap up, as I say, the data I shared today is almost now 18 months old. The refreshed data will be available at the end of March. And I think it will complement the data that the Birmingham index shows today. What we are seeing is attitudinal barriers still exist at a UK national level. We are seeing maturity progress, but probably not at the pace that we would feel comfortable with. And we are seeing movement within the scale in terms of this. You can move up and down the scale in terms of where you are in terms of your maturity. But finally, just thank you again for the invitation. We do have a market stall downstairs on table 10. So any of you are interested in talking to the commercial banking team in terms of helping going forwards in your business, then please feel free to reach out to those guys down there. But thank you.